Sometimes in racing, you'll have battles to the very end of a season, and sometimes you'll have clinch scenarios. Situations in which there's a minimum that has to be achieved in order to confirm a driver as champion, for example. This season, we have the latter, where Cole Cabrey just has to take the green flag tonight to wrap up a championship season over the best Super Late Model drivers on the iRacing.com sim. Welcome to Pit Stop TV, the virtual South Boston, Virginia. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV with Zach Murtis alongside, and it's a pleasure to join you for coverage of the Sim Auto Racing Association Pierce Fleet Service Super Series at South Boston Speedway. Tonight's coverage is brought to you by Pierce Fleet Service, Fast AF Designs, and all series partners. Zach, this is the final mystery round, and we join everybody from, as mentioned, South Boston Speedway. This is a famed short track in South Boston, Virginia that is just so historic. It's a sister track to Pocono Raceway, and it's a late model stock track. Rarely do you see super late models up this far.
Sister track to Pocono.
Yes, sir.
Since when?
Owned by the same company.
Oh, well then, that certainly clears things up. I mean, I didn't realize that. Wow. But South Boston has been a track that's on my bucket list for a long time now. They just allowed Legend Cars to start racing here again, so they had a whole Cars Tour feeder series race when they came last season. There's a lot of great things that happen at South Boston Speedway. You know, Cars Tour. I think ASA Super Late Models come here, if I'm not mistaken.
Not that I'm aware of.
Oh, well then I must be shooting off the wall then for a second there. But this track is awesome. I love it. I love everything about South Boston. It's one of my favorite tracks, even though I haven't had the chance to go here yet. But it's always got some interesting characteristics about it that make it super great for racing. Whether it's dipping your left sides below that yellow line on the flat part of the apron to get some more rotation or try to shortcut it a little bit, to being able to rip around the outside too. This track can be multi-groove, and that's not something you commonly see at a short track. So I think with the SARA Super Series coming here, they're going to show us exactly how that bottom groove and that top groove can work for these guys.
We'll see both grooves used this evening. We'll even see a bit of a unorthodox way to choose for lanes this evening on restarts. But let's take a look at point standings. I mentioned Cole Cabrey just has to start this race to clinch the championship, and that is what he'll be doing. He is qualified in. We have under 30 cars, so everybody will start this race, and Cody Kelly, unfortunately, is too far back to make a run at the championship at this point in time. So despite that win at New Smyrna, it's going to be a little bit too little, a little bit too late for car 75. Cole Cabrey has this thing wrapped up so long as he starts the green flag this evening here at South Boston, and it sounds like he may not be able to make the race at Lanier next week, so it'll fall back on a drop week for him. So that might change the points totals a little bit, but can't assure you, as long as he starts this race, he is your SARA Super Series champion.
And I think we're starting to see just how things can maybe play out into these next two races. You've got two drivers that we thought were going to be in good contention for this. Ryan Kuhn and Alex McCullum, they're not here tonight, focusing more than likely on their real-life racing endeavors. But it's letting some of these drivers who are a little bit further down the running order come in and be a little bit more of the cream of the crop. You know, you've got guys like Spencer Dickinson. He's 13th in the points. He's starting up inside the top 8 tonight, and he's getting reworked around on the metric to start maybe a little bit further up. We'll have to see on that one. You've got a few other guys that are going to be running up there as well. Casey Kelly is going to be up there as well. He's 15th in the points. He qualified up inside the top 10. We're letting some of these guys who may be a little bit further down the running order show that they can compete for these kinds of wins.
And while we don't have a graphic for it, we do have team points coming into this evening as well. We'll have a graphic for it next week and talk about it more at the finale. But the association enters this evening as the top team in the land with 79 points. 79. That's 4 more than the shop at 75 points. That's 11 more than LeDuc Matthews Racing and 18 more than the show. The association is made up of drivers like Casey Kelly, Cameron Hamilton, Jim Cottle Jr. Right there, you've got 3 race winners. Parker Traves and Cody Kelly, another race winner. So that's 4 wins in that team alone. Then you go down to the shop in second place, and they also have 4 wins, just all from Cole Cabry. Trevor Edwards, Keith Jeffrey, and Kyle Meyer also on the shop. And then in LeDuc Matthews Racing, you've got drivers like Blake Thronberg, Steele Langford, Jacob Harberts, Jeremy Ashby, and Daniel Folds. And finally, for the show, you've got Spencer Dickinson, Blake Massengill, and Josh Cottle. And I believe the way the points work is you take the top 2 drivers, and Matt Rolfe can absolutely... actually, no, it's right here in front of me because he's already typed it out for me, wouldn't you know? The top 2 drivers from each team will be used to score points for their respective team. The team with the 2 drivers that have the best results will earn 10 team points. The next highest team will earn 9 points, and so on down to 1 point. There you go. That's how team points work in the SARA Super Series. Look at that. Already typed out for me, ready to go. So long as I use the notes that he gives me, we can do good things. I was expecting some kind of punchline in there, a joke about making sure to look at points, but anyways, Zach left us hanging.
No punchline for me.
Yeah, Zach left us hanging this evening, so let's take a look at the schedule. Race number 5 of the Mystery Tour, and race number 10 of the season here. February the 20th, Fast AF Designs Mystery Night here at South Boston Speedway. Next up, we go to Caffeine and Octane Lanier Raceway for the RS Center Trucking 150. That is the finale next week on February 27th. Of course, that's coming up quick. The season has gone by in a flash, and boy, it really has just hurried on by. Warm-up is coming down to a close. About 5 minutes left to go. We'll take a look at the times on the left side of your screen. Kyle Turzak, the fastest of the bunch so far in car number 15. Racing for Ryan Kuhn Motorsports. Now, he is actually, that team is 5th in the team points. They're a little ways down the order. Turzak, Rogers, Kuhn, and Johnson, a part of Ryan Kuhn Motorsports this season. Second quick so far in practice, or warm-up, is Cameron Hamilton in the 10 car. Third quick, wouldn't you know, Cole Cabry. I think he's going to be fast again this evening.
Into a race and not expecting Cole Cabry to be fast is like walking outside and not expecting to breathe fresh air. I mean, the man has been on point all season, and it shows. I say could, but he is realistically going to walk out of here as the champion. There you see Aaron Johnson sitting in the pits. He's 4th quickest right now. Jacob Harberts is on the track as well. He's 5th fastest. Casey Kelly. Cody Kelly not here tonight. Sitting 2nd in the points.
Which is a shame because he was
here.
Well, he was the winner in the national tour here at South Boston in the late model stock, so that's a shame.
That's unfortunate. Would have liked to see him go 2 for 2. Pull off the clean sweep. There you see Joel Smith from the blimp on down. He is sitting 8th quickest right now. And he's actually also starting up inside the top 10 tonight. So good qualifying performance out of Joel Smith at 24.
Racing for 1A Esports, Joel Smith has been a mainstay on the roster this season. Hasn't run as many races as you might expect Joel to run, but he's also got a lot going on in the real world, so we excuse him there. Spencer Dickinson in the pit lane has run 9th so far in this session. 10th, Joe Schaefer Jr. This kind of shows you who's got speed this evening, and of course these guys are still tuning a little bit on their cars. Certainly doing mostly testing, trying to just get laps in and figure this place out. They feel like they've got what they've got at this point, but there are drivers still doing a little bit of tuning, a little bit of adjusting to their cars at this point in time.
Gotta get in whatever they can. Mystery Night does not give them a lot of opportunity to test and tune these cars, so any on-track time is beneficial for these drivers and learning and adapting a little bit more to how it's all going to react and, you know, keeping themselves ahead of the competition, which is always important in racing. And with only about 2.5 minutes left in the warm-up, Andrew, I would assume that these drivers are using every second to their advantage.
Look at here, Josh Cottle in car 13, right behind Jim Cottle Jr. No relation, different spellings, but boy can it get confusing in a hurry. Kyle Meyer sits 13th, Daniel Folds sits 14th, Brian Tedeschi going to roll out of the pit lane, and this evening we can talk about the choose. This is going to be one of the more unique ways to choose that we've seen this season. So, If I break out my handy-dandy telestrator,
Oh boy.
drivers will come up around turns 1 and 2. That's not even close to a line. Here we go. We'll come around turns 1 and 2 in this direction and have an option. Right here, they will have an option. They can either go left and take the inside, or they can go right and take the outside lane and stay on the racetrack. Does that make sense?
Makes a perfect amount of sense. Of course, you could say that the pit entry wall, which is right in between that beautiful line that you've drawn for us, Andrew, the pit entry wall, could realistically act as a physical choose cone. There you go, it's pointing to it right there. You can see a cone right next to it, that yellow cone right there, those two cones, that's where pit entry starts. Then you've got the barrier right there. Said physical choose cone, in a way.
Does that work a little better?
I would say so. I would have just drawn a line straight down the pit wall.
It's a little easier said than done. Well, anyways, these are our warm-up fill time antics. We're just trying to get to the actual race session. Qualifying already happened, so we're just waiting for these guys to finish running their warm-up session, tuning on the cars a little bit, and get ready to go racing. We're just trying to bridge the gap here from the beginning of the broadcast to racing itself. So if you're wondering why we're a little bit off tonight, well, there you go. Justin Crow tonight has entered this race in car 26. He will be joining us from the 16th position here in warm-up, and it looks like his car number will be loading in here shortly. Unfortunately, we don't have a graphic for him, but otherwise, everybody in a usual entry for this evening's race. And warm-up will come down to a close with Kyle Turzak, the fastest of the bunch, at a 14.737. A couple of things we'll talk about tonight include the Lucky Performance Lucky Break of the Day and the North American Racing League Driver of the Day vote. So fans, get it in your heads now. We're going to be asking for your thoughts and opinions in the YouTube chat, especially on each of these topics, the Lucky Break of the Day and the Driver of the Day. With that, though, let's go down and take a look at the Lucky Performance starting grid on pole. At least qualifying on pole. Of course, they'll be reordered within the top 8 by the reverse of points. But qualifying on pole is Josh Cottle in car 13. On the outside of row number 1, at least by qualifying, will be Cole Cabry. Qualifying 3rd and 4th, Aaron Johnson, Kyle Turzak, a couple of Ryan Kuhn Motorsports drivers, ahead of Spencer Dickinson and Trevor Edwards from the show and the shop, respectively. And finally, the association puts a couple in the top 8, Casey Kelly and Jim Cottle Jr. To round out your top 10, it's Joel Smith and Steele Langford. And Zach, they're already rolling off the grid.
That they are 11th and 12th. You'll find Matt Rolfe and Joe Schaefer Jr. They're the first outside the top 10, and right behind them in the 13th and the 14th starting positions, you'll find Kyle Meyer and Cameron Hamilton as you see the drivers reworking their front starting positions on the metric. 15th and 16th on the starting grid, you'll find Daniel Folds and Blake Massengale, and right behind them in the 17th and 18th positions, you'll find Jacob Harbers and Justin Crow. And rolling off in the back end of your top 20, it's going to be Grant Brown and Riley Stenjem.
Starting 21st this evening, Brian Tedeschi alongside Eric Tracy in 22nd, then Blake Thronberg and Dante Curtis. They're in 23rd and 24th. 25th and 26th, you'll find Justin Langston and Kyle Souza. In 27th and 7 Rogers. 28th, Josh Oswald. 29th, Keith Jeffrey. Still gunning for that top 5. Keith Jeffrey has a long ways to go this evening. Let's take a quick look at Whiplash SimCam's race details. This is a 150-lap race with no change sets in the pit lane. Cautions will count. 2 green-white checkers are available. It's an open setup race with no fast fixes. That should do it for pace laps. We should be looking at the green flag this next time by these wonderful scenic shots brought to you by Whiplash SimCams. Ready to go racing this evening. I'm going to put you on the spot here, Zach. Make it quick. Do you have a pick?
Joel Smith.
Let's see what Joel has in store. Looks like we'll get one more pace lap, so we'll be able to breathe for a second, and maybe I can make a pick here. You know what? I'm going to make it easy, and I'm going to say this is just one of those scenarios, I feel like, where a driver has already clinched the championship by starting the race. You don't have to take them because they don't have to do a whole lot to make it. But I feel like he's going to end up doing a little bit extra tonight, and I feel like Cole Cabrey might just walk it out to victory lane in car 54. He's got some work to do, though, from 8th place as he leads the points coming into tonight's race. Here we go. Into the restart zone. We are green at South Boston Speedway. Lap 1 complete. Trevor Edwards going to move on by Casey Kelly for second spot.
Out in front, Aaron Johnson already getting out to an astounding lead, almost half a tenth of a second as they fight side by side for that second spot. Cole Cabrey gets up and clear. He's going to run it to the wall and take second spot away, but they're fighting hard right behind for third. Kyle Turzak looks like he might get the nose in front here and take it away off of 3.
Aaron Johnson going to lead this race. Last time he led this strong, it was at Rockingham where he went to victory lane. That was another mystery race. First side-by-side fight, Josh Cottle, Casey Kelly. That's for 4th position. We watch on from the blimp cam. And Kelly dives down in line right behind Cottle. That gets him in front of Joel Smith. That was a really smart move.
Yeah, Smith single file right behind them. Right behind Smith, though, is Cole Cabrey. Did I call Trevor Edwards as Cole Cabrey?
You know, I don't know, but they do have nearly identical race cars.
It's
I think that was done by design.
Now I know how the spotters feel on the stands sometimes. But on board with Cole Cabrey, sitting right behind Joel Smith. The first side-by-side battle right behind them is Teal Langford and Spencer Dickinson, who looks like he's going to get clear off of turn number 4. This is back on board with Cabrey as he's trying to find a way around Joel Smith. I say trying to find a way around, but it's only lap 7. These guys are being patient. They're working themselves in. We see that as the whole field is really getting single file. There's your first side-by-side battle. That's way back. That's right behind Harberts in the 17th spot. He gets Grant Brown on the inside. They're trying to see what they can do right now.
Sure enough, that is Grant Brown racing along with the 09, I believe, of Daniel Folds, and it is. Daniel Folds will fall back. Grant Brown takes a spot away. Here comes Brian Tedeschi on the outside. Brown dives right down to the inside lane. Tedeschi works on the outside lane. Here's the onboard with Daniel Folds. Tedeschi's going to roll the top. Wow.
I told you. What did I say before this race got started, Andrew? This track is uncharacteristic of a short track. The top line and the bottom line are both extremely useful here.
Watch Tedeschi roll this top side on Grant Brown. That was impressive to get alongside of the 14, but now he's got to try and get by the 14 car. You see Folds make an adjustment. He moves up top. That's going to bring in Blake Thronberg in the 22 car to move to his inside. There's Thronberg in the 22. He'll make a dive on the 09 of Folds. This is deep in the field. This is down around 20th spot.
Well, that's the fun thing about the SARA Super Series. They're fighting all over the racetrack. These guys are so good that they don't know when to stop racing each other. We see that. I say that. We look up side by side. That's going to be Massingale up on the top side. He's going to get clear of the 88. And that's going to be Harbert's rolling around the top side as well. That's Meyer that they're working on by. Grant Brown's working on by too. See, that top line's really starting to come into play here.
Seems like the top might be the place to be in a battle. Grant Brown makes it by Kyle Meyer. Brian Tedeschi now going to do work. Just hopping from car to car on the same camera, looking back here from the driver's window net. And they all keep clearing that 88 car of Kyle Meyer. He has dropped like a rock these last few laps. Back to 18th. Laxton side by side with Folds. Laxton used the bottom to go by the 09 car. Here comes the 26 of Justin Crow. And it threw me off because he's running a 72 car akin to what you see Ryan Kuhn run. And I wonder if this is a last minute sub for Ryan Kuhn that we weren't made aware of.
Has all the makings of it.
I would assume so.
almost a little bit of contact there behind Kyle Souza. Just got clear of Riley Stenjem. I saw right out of the screenshot, they almost made a little bit of contact at the left rear quarter panel, and Souza actually gets a little loose. Might be fighting the car a little bit, but out in front, Aaron Johnson, he's still got half a second of the lead. And then 3 cars behind him, that's Edwards, Turzak, and Cottle. They've kind of separated and developed a little pack of their own, you know? They've been able to just break away from the rest of the drivers behind. And we talk about it, Joel Smith now on the inside of Cole Cabry. They're racing side by side for the 5th spot. Cabry gets clear. So the move that Smith was trying to make doesn't hang on. Actually, no. Cole Cabry was behind Joel Smith.
Yeah, that was Cabry making a pass. So Cabry goes by for the 6th position. Casey Kelly now looks up, or rather, Casey Kelly is ahead of Cabry. That's Spencer Dickinson looking up at Joel Smith to make a pass maybe for 7th position. Spencer Dickinson is just randomly good at different racetracks. I feel like sometimes he's in the midfield, sometimes in the top 10, top 5 even. And this could be one of those nights where he puts it in the top 5 by sheer skill. Every once in a while, he hits on something.
I'm sure the Spencer Dickinson fan club is very happy about that one.
Sometimes I wonder if they're the fan club or the hater club.
Oh my. Well, he's putting together a solid run so far. Started up inside the top 10. Still holding inside the top 10. Still up in the 8th spot. Now he's got to move around the outside of Joel Smith. Joel's going to let him have it here.
Smart racing
right around
this
the
early.
top side.
Meanwhile, starting to battle inside the top 5. Here comes Josh Cottle on the outside of Kyle Turzak. That's how close they are through the corners. Contact.
I thought they were going to squeeze into the wall right there. Still so close together. What I tell you, Andrew, this top side, it has come into play tonight. This is not the first time we've seen this outside line work tonight, and it's not going to be the last. Maybe as the marbles pick up on the outside of the racetrack, we'll see this outside line fall out of play a little bit more later into the race. But right now, it's really crucial for a lot of these drivers. It's helpful.
Oh, this is not going to end well. These two are really starting to lean on each other. Cottle, what a drift through turn 1. On board with Josh Cottle, looking up at Kyle Turzak, and no, he's not going to be happy. There is a bit of a vendetta between Trevor Edwards and Kyle Turzak. And I know this is Josh Cottle we're talking about, but that vendetta, I think, extends a little bit and is shared by Trevor's teammates over at the shop and the show. So I don't think Cottle is going to be very appreciative of the 15 getting up into him. I don't think Kyle did anything wrong. I think that's short track racing, but I do think Kyle got up into Josh.
Ooh, little bumper tag right there off of turn number 4. They've got Cole Cabry coming into play here soon, though, so if they're going to separate this mess and sort it out, they need to do it now. Cabry's got by Kelly. He's got by Dickinson. The last time we checked in on him, he was just past Joel Smith.
There was a bit of a nudge. Another one. Another one.
He's muscling him. He's muscling him.
Oh, and he gets loose off the corner. Just spun the tires trying to get up off of turn number 4. And Cottle falls back. But this is really good short track racing right here between these two. This is just that beat on the bumper. Message 1 is I'm here. Message 2 is I want to pass. Message 3 is I'm passing you. And so far, I think we're at 2.5.
Like 2 3/4, I'd say. We're getting closer and closer to maybe seeing a little bit more than just bumper tag. And I think it definitely shows with how Cottle is racing at the moment, because he knows that he's faster. He wants to get by that 15, but he doesn't exactly want to cause a caution, get himself sent to the back. But we're race car drivers, man.
Whoa!
Almost to the front stretch right here, caution.
Speak of a caution, and you will receive one. Now, Josh Oswald is in the pit lane. I'm not sure why the 17 is down here, but his car looks untouched. Maybe just pulled off out of... Yeah, might have just pulled off out of competition issues, but Devin Rogers is the subject of this caution.
Right there. Rogers with a meatball flag, so that's going to mean his day is done.
Rogers, one of the RKM entries, was racing back here with Eric Tracy. Backed it up a little bit far. This is a couple of laps prior to it happening. We'll watch along here for the 25 car. I think it's going to happen this time by. Does he just get free on his own, maybe? Tag the apron? Okay, one more time by.
I'm hearing a lot of drivers communicate between each other on something that happened up in front, so it might have something to do with Kyle Meyer or anything up there. Still looking up. They're catching. Oh, he just got free.
Just got loose.
There's the leaders. The caution came out real quick there. And I just assumed that there was something going on there with Kyle Meyer or anybody else that was right there in front of him, because they were talking about something that had happened up in front as we see the shoes being used for the first time tonight.
First caution, first choose. And there you see the results of it. Everybody chooses about as you would expect, or as you would normally line them up. Inside, outside, inside, outside. For the most part, Cabry does choose the outside lane. That puts him on the outside of Casey Kelly. Here we go to the restart zone and back green flag racing at Sobo. We got nearly a third of the race rattled off before the first caution. Let's see what we can do here on run number 2. Out of turn number 2, Trevor Edwards gets clear for second. Kyle Terzak racing with Josh Cottle for third.
I feel like Edwards almost jumped the restart there. You saw him try to get going and rolling. And they all just kind of backed down after Johnson got rolling, but now we're single file top 3. Cottle ahead of the 15 of Terzak, so I'm sure he's happy about that one. But you see the fights right behind. Cole Cabry still trying to hang tough on that outside line. Dickinson as well on the outside of Kelly, and Joel Smith right behind them. He's on the outside of Cottle. Cabry gets clear. Top 4 now, single file.
Terzak slipping up on the bottom side, getting held up big time right now. Seems like maybe the top side was the way to go with the choose, and there goes Dickinson on by the 15 car. Terzak is just dropping on the inside. He can't go anywhere.
He's going backwards now behind 6. Spencer Dickinson moves up inside the top 5. Joel Smith took a look to the outside line right there. He's going to have to settle for what he's got at the moment. Might get to the quarter panel, but up front, Cabry moves in front of Edwards.
Edwards just let Cottle and Cabry go. Problems for Blake Massengill. He's blinking in the middle of the field. But up front, it's still a battle between Dickinson and Terzak.
Dickinson way up the racetrack there.
And Dickinson will clear. Terzak will fall back in behind. Joel Smith, Casey Kelly, they race for 7th place. Here's the onboard of Smith.
Kelly dipping back to the inside line. There's just no gains on that bottom line right now, Andrew. Nothing that can be done for these drivers. So the race just goes on, and these guys are still left trying to figure out what they can do down there. And more are starting to realize that outside line is the way to go to make these passes and get that track position.
Well, Josh Cottle being put into 2nd place, able to now chase down the 78 of Aaron Johnson. I think it's a power move for the shop / the show. They're about the same team, just split up to make it official for the SARA Super Series. But they do a lot of sharing between. That's why Cottle has the shop decals on his car, but runs for the show. And there we go. Caution is out, and we've got problems in the back. Grant Brown and many more.
Daniel Folds. Oh, keep Jeffries around in turn 3. There's a parking lot on the back straightaway.
And Grant Brown's destroyed.
Yeah, pulling up right in front of the pace car. He's going to have to tow right then and there. We've got a number of cars that are absolutely killed. Brian Tedeschi on the outside of Grant Brown here. We've got Ty Majeski on the spotter stand for that 29. It looks like the 14 of Brown just came up, made a little contact. He got it squared away. Oh, man.
Now, I don't know if they're teammates or not, but Brown and Laxton have the same logo on the back of their cars. And for them to be the two involved in this just has bad written all over it.
That's a heavy blow for both of them right there.
So you'll see the problem here between Tedeschi and Brown again, and then the big crash off of turn 2. Brown just pushed up, Tedeschi was there.
No harm, no foul.
They kept racing, and then this. Brown up the racetrack, Laxton was there. That involves Keith Jeffrey. Senjum gets by, Souza gets by, Harberts gets by. Oh, but then Eric Tracy puts Josh Oswald on the fence. And the Ryan Kuhn Motorsports 72 for Justin Crow was involved.
So a number of drivers getting taken out in this one. See, we've already chosen Johnson on the bottom. Pretty split shoes like we've been having for these 2 cautions that we've only had this race. And 2 cautions in 55 laps. We've cleared a third of the race so far, Andrew. You know, you got to vote for driver of the day just yet?
Oh, we're not getting there just yet. Too much racing left to go. Aaron Johnson, here we go, into the restart zone. Green flag, back out at Sobo. One lap complete off the restart. Aaron Johnson still leading, but not by much. Here comes that 13 car.
Just on the outside, poking around that quarter panel. You see Cabry pushing up the racetrack behind as well. Oh, so close for this race lead right now.
This is for position number 1. Cole Cabry sits in 3rd. Edwards sits in 4th, and Dickinson in 5th. Joel Smith now in 6th, racing with Casey Kelly. But this the battle out front. And Cottle gives a shot there to Aaron Johnson. Gets him loose.
Big wiggle off of turn 2. Cottle did not come to mess around tonight. You see Spencer Dickinson up on the top side. He's shooting for the 4th spot right now. Looking to see if he can make a move around Cole Cabry. Not just there yet. Cabry up the racetrack as well.
Cabry saw that 6 car moving forward on the top side and jumped up there to block it.
Yeah, I think he realizes what's going on right now. It's almost super speedway-esque, Andrew. Fighting to defend both lanes now to hold on to that momentum and keep rolling forward.
Dickinson getting clear here of Trevor Edwards, or at least trying to. Has just about done it, and there he will. Edwards falls back. Smith and Kelly race side by side. Joe Schaefer Jr., Jim Cottle Jr. were in side by side. Matt Rolfe into the top 10. Cameron Hamilton just on the cusp, along with Jacob Harberts and Steele Langford. But out front, it's still the 13 and 78 battling heads up.
Still single file. That top 5 as we roll almost up to halfway. We're nearing it, just over 10 laps before. See Cottle working on the back bumper of Aaron Johnson in that 78 car. Seeing what can be done to pass that 78 Super Late model. Boy, oh boy, do I love the speed shot cams, Andrew. I'll tell you, they're probably my favorite camera angle to use at the racetrack.
They're good for sure. These static cameras show the sense of speed here at South Boston. A tiny little racetrack. It looks flat, but boy, do they carry a lot of speed.
Starting to see most of the field get single filed out. Number of cars still in the pit lane. Saw him back there off of turn number 3. But Cole Cabry has reeled in Josh Cottle. He's caught up to the back of that 13 car, Andrew. They're making their way forward, trying to see what they can do. Tedeschi just grabbed the wall back there. But there's fights all throughout the field.
Whoa, Matt Rolfe got way free. Just about tank slapped into the 15 of Jim Cottle Jr. Jacob Harbert's here. Cameron Hamilton. And Jim Cottle and Matt Rover battling for 9th and 10th.
Oh, Schaefer making a move on Joel Smith right in front of him. He's taking looks up the inside. Now he's there on the inside of that 24 car, just in front of these fights. So lots of fighting going on. I think we're starting to see a lot of guys trying to go back to use the bottom line. It's still not exactly working out, though. Schaefer falls in behind Joel Smith. Rolf continues to hang on right behind. You know, that top line is still the beneficial route at the moment. It's the best route to use. But I think a lot of these guys are starting to think, well, if my car can roll the bottom, I'm going to make it work. And oh boy, that's a track temp for you.
Yeah, I was just going to say 76 degrees in the air thereabouts. Partly cloudy skies, 107-degree track temp, though. That's pretty warm, pretty toasty for sure. And if you're looking for cooler racetrack to maybe have a little bit more grip, you've got to keep going higher and higher up the track, because in the corners, if we get a good shot here, maybe in turn 2, look at where the marbles are now. They are way up the racetrack. There's clean track all the way from the bottom, that yellow line, all the way above the dashes. That's clean racetrack where these guys have been running in lap after lap after lap, side by side. So you've really got to search around for cleaner racetrack, colder racetrack at this point. You've got to go way up there now.
My thing is, what happens when the marbles start getting all over the racetrack? You got guys running the top line that are pushing these marbles left and right. You got guys on the bottom pushing marbles left and right. You see the bottom on the apron. There's a lot of marbles down there, Andrew. It's going to take a while for the racing groove to get a lot dirtier, but you see the marbles flying all over the place on the racetrack. It's going to get to a point where there's not going to be any clean racetrack. And you're just going to have to feel around for what your car likes and what it wants to do. As Schaefer moves around Joel Smith and Matt Rolfe now comes into play.
These guys are all trying to clamor for the top side of the racetrack. Trying to get in a line there and run around the top, leaving the bottom open. You do not want to be caught down there right now. Oh, problems. Jim Cottle Jr. around. Brian Adeshi involved. Terzak goes for a spin. Dante Curtis involved.
That's not the way you want to get past halfway, I'll say.
Yeah, just 2 laps past halfway when this happened. And Jim Cottle Jr. just came off the flat. Got hooked into Blake Thronberg. Oh, Kyle Terzak, man, was just trying to get by it.
And Tedeschi has some major damage out of that incident.
Tedeschi and Cottle both. Watch this in slow-mo here. Cameron Hamilton got a piece. Tedeschi got put in the fence pretty hard. Terzak just gets caught. Dante Curtis, I think, is the best of the 4 of these guys. He just kind of nosed into it at the end.
And you know what, Andrew? I think I have a nomination for Lucky Performance, Lucky Break of the Day.
Who's that going to be?
Blake Mascadale. Look at him. He is about 4th in line right back here. Look at him just make it by.
Let's get a proper replay on that real quick before they go green.
And the next car right behind him was Brian Tedeschi.
Here's Massagill.
If you look from the top-down view, Andrew, you could have seen how close that was for these guys. I mean, that was a very, very close incident for Massengale.
I'll take your word for it. That is so far today's Lucky Performance, Lucky Break of the Day. During this next green flag run, we're going to talk Driver of the Day. Be ready for that vote in the YouTube chat, those of you watching over on YouTube. And if you're watching on Facebook, I suggest getting YouTube up as well. If you're watching on Twitch, same deal. We can only do the vote in one place, unfortunately. That is coming up next on this next green flag run. Into the restart zone we go. Green flag is back out. Cottle tried to get a jump, but Aaron Johnson leads us. Oh, there was nearly some right rear contact there between Cottle and Johnson. That was almost a whole lot of wrong.
I think Cottle really needs to be aggressive on these restarts, Andrew. We've seen Aaron Johnson have a really good long run car. And I know that Cottle has the speed to contend, but if he's going to be able to get that car out in front, he needs to be able to find a way past Aaron Johnson now. Be able to work that track defense and get in front so you can kind of bide your time. We saw Johnson get a little loose from some contact. He's muscling him, he's moving him, trying to get underneath.
Big time contact there, and Cole Cabry just drives around the outside of both of them and gets to the outside of Aaron Johnson. I told you, this 54 doesn't have to win to get the championship. All he had to do was start tonight, but he led that lap, I believe, and he's going to try and lead the next one and all the way to the end. He is muscling around Aaron Johnson. Cole Cabry to the point.
He's got the nose in front, Andrew, and at the line, give it to Cabry, I think, at the start-finish line by 6/1000ths of a second. He led that time by. 2 laps led on the day, but the fight side by side is going to reel these guys in and let them get back up into the fight. Cottle waiting to see who's going to benefit from either lane. Johnson's doing an incredible job defending on the bottom, but Cole Cabry, how can you stop the man? He's on a mission.
Yes, he is. Cole Cabry just feels like his kind of day. I'm sure he's cut some laps here before, and he's looking good in that 54 car.
Turn 1. 1 car up in the wall.
Riley Stenjum in trouble. He'll continue on, no problems, no caution. Cabry leads by a nose at the line.
Oh, scratch that. Car upside down. That's Stenjum.
And he will tow straight to the pit lane, get off the racetrack in a hurry.
Not sure what happened there. So this is before everything in its entirety.
This will show the initial
out.
issue. Tries to get up top. Hamilton gives him the boot. Maskell got into him hard. They were 4 wide there for a second, and that broke the 77.
Kyle Souza got a piece of that, and I think Stenjum might have just been trying to get to the bottom here. Cuts down to the bottom of the racetrack. Oh, he can't turn.
Oh, my. Get one more look at this. Was just trying to get in line up top, and Hamilton gave him the boot. Got him going.
Closed way too quickly, Andrew. There was no way that he was going to be able to get that car in line and then still keep rolling forward. That takes Josh Oswald out of this race and Riley Stenjum. Oswald was already a number of laps down, and he was just trying to see what he could put back together in this race. Currently sitting 11 laps down, but now his day is more than likely done.
Let's quickly talk driver of the day under this caution. I'm going to give you the floor for your first nomination.
Oh boy, you're putting me on the spot. I know I picked Joel Smith earlier on before the start of this race, but you kind of put me on the spot there. I just thought of a name and said it quick. Well, you know what? I'm going to go with Spencer Dickinson. Dickinson is up into the 4th spot. He's remained consistent all day. He's doing the job he needs to do, and, you know, we're getting towards the end of this race. We're almost 2/3 of the way through. I think he's got a good chance right now.
I'll nominate Cole Cabry. We'll resume this conversation here in just a couple of laps once the restart gets in, but Cole Cabry driving to the front like that has to be in consideration. He's my first nomination. Here we go. Green flag back in the air at Sobo. One lap complete off the restart. Aaron Johnson fighting with Josh Cottle again, this time for 2nd place.
Side by side. Through turn 3, Cottle. He's got the nose on that quarter panel. He's getting the run off exit, so he's going to draw up a little bit further alongside. Like I said, Andrew, he's got to be aggressive on these restarts. He's got to show that he's here to make some noise, get up there, and he's got a car that can fend off Cole Cabry. He just needs to get some clean air on that nose.
Well, I'll give you the floor here, your second nomination for driver of the day.
You know, we usually pick drivers that are a little bit further up in the field because they're doing what they need to do, be up at the front of the field. But I want to take a stab, take a guy a little bit further down the running order, and to be honest, I think I'm going to go with Matt Rolfe. He's sitting in the 12th spot, and he may not be showing it today. He was up in the top 10 a little bit, but his performance has upticked over these last few races. He's putting himself in position to potentially be a top 5 contender in the points at the end of the season. I know he's sitting 8th. I know this is the second to last race, but there are drivers here that have taken their drop races that aren't contending anymore. He's going to get 2 spots on Alex McCollum, on Ryan Kuhn. That's going to put him at least 6th. He's got solid chances, and he's doing what he needs to do to get the job done today.
I'm going to go right with the 78 car, Aaron Johnson. He has been so good today. He led the opening portion of this race until Cole Cabrey went on by around the halfway mark. R78 for me. And that will complete our nomination portion of the event as Johnson drives in there into turn 1, gets clear of the 13 of Cottle. Cottle looks back to the inside, and this has just got to be paining Josh Cottle.
He took an early look into the corner, Andrew. Tell me you saw that. He got covered off real quick.
Yes, he did. Casey Kelly, by the way, working on the inside of Spencer Dickinson right behind these guys. That is good for 4th position. Trevor Edwards right behind in 6th. And Steele Langford has made it into the top 10 in the 7th spot. Joe Schaefer Jr., Jacob Harberts, and Kyle Turzak, your top 10 so far here at South Boston.
The race continues on. Everybody's just trying to see what they can do now. And I can't even begin to describe, because I don't know what he's feeling under the helmet in that race car, how Josh Cottle is feeling. He's got so much speed, and he just can't catch a break on these restarts. We take a look now at Casey Kelly. Still hanging tough on the inside of Spencer Dickinson, I'll say. They've been fighting side by side since the restart. They've brought Trevor Edwards into the mix, and Edwards was up at the front of this race early on. He's fallen a considerable ways back, and I feel like he's trying to get back up there, see what he can do with that race car. Caution on the speedway. Justin Laxton.
Problems again for car 53, it sounds like. He and Daniel Folds were fighting, along with Blake Thronberg and Blake Massenghill. Here's Laxton through turns 1 and 2. Got a tap from Thronberg. Drifts down into Folds, who just about hits the pit attenuator at the end of the pit wall. The barrel's down there. Let's watch that from Folds' perspective, and we'll just take the onboard with the driver's eye POV camera and just watch. By the way, we have over 30 of you watching on YouTube, and so far only 6 votes in the Driver of the Day vote. Let's pump those numbers up. Here's Folds getting driven down into that pit wall nearly. Jeez, that was close. This should be the choose here. Avery chooses low, Johnson high, Cottle low, Kelly high, Dickinson low, and Edwards high. I do really appreciate this system. Also, Zach, talk lucky performance, lucky break of the day. I think Daniel Folds not hitting that pit wall might constitute.
It just might. I was
Here we go. Around 2, the restart zone, this time by green flag back in the air here at Sobo. One lap complete off the restart. Aaron Johnson fighting on that inside. This is a really good little battle between these two. Aaron Johnson working the inside of Cole Cabry.
Still side by side up off the corner.
Casey
Not
Kelly
giving it
working
in.
on the outside of Josh Cottle right behind. There was contact that time between Johnson and Cabry. Coming down to 30 to go. Is there some new life in that 78 car?
It just might be. Still side by side, and it's 1 and 2. Nobody.
Zach having some problems with the mic right now, but we continue on between these two. Cole Cabry, Aaron Johnson locked in this heated fight side by side, and finally, maybe do they get single file? No. Johnson stays alongside the 54. This time by 31 to go, and there we go. Johnson slips up, but he's still down there on Cole Cabry. Now he gets clear. Caution. And it's Terzak. Terzak got the wall on his own. Joel Smith came in, and that's that one. Look at it from the tower. And so far as my personal lucky performance, lucky break of the day, I still go back to Daniel Folds. I think Blake Massengill might be the winner between those two options, with Massengill's miss of that crash earlier, but Daniel Folds getting put down near the pit wall, nearly into it, and somehow missing it. That just sounds like a lucky performance, lucky break of the day to me.
I know I made the pick early on for Massengale, but he's been caught up in a number of incidents so far. Hard to say if he really caught a lucky break because he's still a little bit further down the running order, but choosing this time, see Cabry go to the bottom, Johnson chooses top. Pretty even split amongst the top 6. Really top 8, top 10 realistically. A lot of drivers choose the bottom, a lot of drivers choose the top. Still ways to go, Andrew. We've only got a little bit over 25 laps to go. Things could always turn on a dime.
And they tend to. Want to thank those helping us out with the series. Of course, All Pro Late Model Tour, Cody Williams Design, Curry Bodie Motorsports, Pro Sim Shots, Davis Chassis Works, DriverTees.com, Dylan Bates Racing, Fast AF Designs, Hides, Pride Leather and Sheepskin, International Short Track Association, Matthews Designs, 1-8 Coffee Company, 1-8 Racing Media, Patriot Media Marketing Services. I'm just going to keep going. Pedley's Garage, Pierce Fleet Service, Race1Wraps.com, RJ21 Management, RS Center Trucking, SARA Next Gen Templates, SimRapMarket.com, Toxic Media Solutions, and Wisconsin Wings and Walleyes. What a battle between these two out front. Cole Cabry, Aaron Johnson, side by side at Sobo.
Still hanging tough on that outside line. Aaron Johnson doing everything he can in his power.
Cottle, no! Don't turn him! Don't turn him! Door banging off the corner. They keep it straight, and I don't know how.
Cottle finally got what he wanted. He got out in front, and
Caution.
the caution's out.
Joel Smith and more. Matt Rolfe involved. Kyle Souza involved. What a restart. Let's go back to it. Let's just watch this whole thing back. Cole Cabry got the jump. Aaron Johnson hung with him. Door banging some more. And then here we go. Johnson's going to try and get in behind the 54 car. And Cole Cabry, Josh Cottle says absolutely not. puts the fender to the left rear quarter panel and just drives through the 78. I don't know how they hung on to the race cars. And then the 24's got problems. And it all compounds in turn one. There's a late look at the crash. We'll get one more replay.
Hard impact for a lot of them.
So that checkup is what caused this. Smith got into Hamilton in the back, then Rolf piled in, and Rolf did a couple of wheelies. Oh my gosh.
Oh no.
There's nowhere to go for these guys. They all checked up in a hurry. This was a really clean race for a long time, and it's kind of, I don't want to say it's dirtied up here, but it has gotten a little bit less clean, a few more cautions than I expected. 7th caution here, 16 lead changes though. That is impressive.
They've been doing their work tonight, Andrew. It's been a long one. Realistically, it hasn't because they've only been racing for a little less than an hour, but we've got 20 laps to go. And we still got to finish this one out.
Here we go. Restart zone one more time at Sobo. Green flag back in the air. On board with Aaron Johnson as we complete one lap off the restart. Cole Cabry setting sail, but Johnson wants second.
Still tight off the corner. These two can't escape each other, Andrew. They have been the best battle all race. And if I was Cottle, honestly, I'd just cross him over. Break early into the corner, get down, cross him up, get to the inside. Because if Johnson's making it work now, you can make it work too. Squeezes him to the wall.
Trevor Edwards sitting there right behind in the 32 car. And finally, Johnson gets back clear of Josh Cottle. 16 laps to go.
Call it 15 at the line. Cabry half a second out in front. Nothing that can be done to go catch that 54 car. Looking for win number 5 on the season. Aaron Johnson, single file racing with Cottle behind him. He's got to do 2 things at once right now. He's got to keep Cottle behind and keep the defense up. And he's got to go catch Cole Cabry. Cabry slips up way high into the corner.
Might be trying something different, gets a run off the corner, extends that lead down the backstretch.
Now he lost a 10th right there.
So an odd misstep for the 54 car, but no real dice for the 78, not able to catch up.
Oh, we're wrecking in turn number 2. Laxton folds.
Another one.
Oh my.
And this seems to have gotten a little bit extra between Blake Thronberg and Justin Laxton. Washed the 22 on the inside.
Oh. Oh my.
I think somebody's going to be taking a vacation.
I wonder if there was something that transpired beforehand that caused that aggression level to go up.
This is there. Back to the restart. This had to be compounding for a while. Because Laxton's already ahead of Thronberg here.
I saw Jeffrey move up to the top line. It kind of stacked them up. They got closer together.
Just do a little bit of Benny Hill fast forward here. We don't usually do this. Looks a little interesting sometimes, but we're just going to try and fast forward through this and see if there was anything between these two.
Here he goes. There's a move to the inside.
Well, and then this is where it happens. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there.
Maybe he got free. Maybe he just slid up, or...
Well, did he get free? Let's watch. Maybe? It looks
like it.
It looks intentional from outside the car. It looks neutral from inside the car. And I know sometimes it can look intentional from outside and not be intentional. So we'll leave that as is and let y'all decide. But here we go. We'll restart this time inside of 10 laps to go. That driver of the day vote is still going. Spencer Dickinson so far is leading it. Can he win driver of the day today at South Boston Speedway? We'll find out. Restart zone on the way. Cole Cabry launches early. Green flag back in the air. Watch Aaron Johnson here. Going to get right to the back end of Josh Cottle through turns 3 and 4. 7 laps to go.
Cottle finally gets clear of the 78, and he does it on a restart. This is the thing that he needed to happen. Now, bumper set on the 54 of Cole Cabry. They're going to come around turns 3 and 4. It's going to be 6 laps to go. Not a lot of time left to go get him. You see Casey Kelly on the inside of Trevor Edwards. They're duking it out for that 4th spot.
Edwards using the outside lane. That's been so potent this evening. Edwards kind of saved his stuff through the middle portion of this race. They're starting to come back to life now at the end. That's the way you want to do it. If you can't dominate, you want to sit back and save for a while and then fire back at the end. Fast AF Designs Mystery Night here. 4 laps remaining. What a night it's been. We've seen everything here at South Boston. This has been one of the best races all season long, and it might come down to Cole Cabry again.
And Aaron Johnson's gotten right to the back bumper of Josh Cottle. Getting his nose in there, trying to get back to second, maybe seeing if he has something for Cabry, but he's running out of time, Andrew. Look at Cottle, big sends into the corner, trying to close up as much as he can. Popsicle sticks in the air. 2 laps to go for Cole Cabry.
Final 2 times around the South Boston Speedway. Caution! This will change it all. Blake Massengill.
Going into overtime.
Oh, this is going to start with Kyle Meyer, it looks like, in the 88 car.
Look at Matt Rolfe up in front. He's got no rear bumper, no rear spoiler.
And that's where it starts. That's right where it starts, was Matt Rolfe. He got up into Turzak and had a moment on the front stretch. Meyer and Massengill just get involved.
Yeah, Massengill with really nowhere to go. The fact that Matt Rolfe was out there still turning laps is impressive to me. Usually when there's no rear spoiler on that car, it just wants to snap around, step out, spin itself out. He kept it rolling.
He did get loose, of all things. And that's that caution.
Could we show a Lucky Performance Lucky Break of the Day nomination for Kyle Turzak for that? Maybe. He got off pretty scot-free right there. I mean, they made contact, but could have gotten a little bit worse for the man, realistically.
Well, I know one thing we can show, and that's the Lucky Performance overtime rules. 2 laps, a green lap, a white lap, and then checkered flag to end it. If the green lap is not, or is completed rather, the race is official no matter what happens on the white lap. If the green lap is not completed, we restart again. We've got 2 attempts at this, meaning if we don't get it done the first time, we could try one more time. Once all attempts are used, the caution can end the race if it comes out during that green lap.
Gotta maximize this restart. The restart zone, I've been wanting to talk about it actually, Andrew. It's so short here at South Boston. Second that pace car pulls off, it's like 2 seconds and boom. Green flag's already getting thrown by the flag stand. So you gotta make sure, if you're Josh Cottle, you maximize this restart like you did the last time.
Here we go, an overtime restart at South Boston Speedway into the restart zone. Green flag is out. We are racing once again at Sobo. 2 laps to go.
Aaron Johnson, look at him, Andrew. He gets to the inside of Cottle. Clear off the corner, sending it in, coming to the white.
White flag is out, brought to you by Whiplash Simcams. One more time around in round 10 of the season. And in this 10th race of the season, the SARA Super Series is going to belong to Cole Cabry, a walk-off win at Sobo. He is your champion this season in the SARA Super Series.
A lot of drivers fighting it out there for a top 10 spot. So many cars are side by side, Andrew. And now you've got Cole Cabry walking off with a win. 5 wins on the season. Just about half the races we've run this season.
Exactly half the races we've run to this point. And it sounds like he can't make Lanier, so he'll end it with a 500 record. That is impressive.
What a job. What a season for Cole Cabry. He's gonna burn it down here, Andrew. These guys are all making their way back into the pit lane. A race well run, I'd have to say. I know it got a little murky there at the end, but this was, you know, in my opinion, a really good race for South Boston.
Yes, it was. South Boston can go very poorly on the sim. If drivers don't treat this place with respect, it can get muddy in a hurry, we'll say. But this was a really, really good race for South Boston Speedway on the iRacing.com sim.
Talk about a burnout, though. Full lap burning it down, and he's going to do it in the pit lane.
Yes, sir. Right to victory lane. Going to park it right there.
Give us a little rev bomb there in victory lane, too.
Clear the carb real quick, and that is it for Cole Cabry. What a job well done by Car 54 this evening. We'll run through your race results. You know, I'm surprised nobody really is voting for Cole Cabry as driver of the day. He dominated the back end of this race, but I get it. You want to vote for the small guys. I understand. Let's take a look back at this evening's unofficial race results, though, with Cole Cabry on top, Josh Cottle second on that overtime restart, Aaron Johnson in third, and how about Trevor Edwards, fourth place? He won't be talking to us this evening, but boy, did he get close, racing with Aaron Johnson to the line. Jacob Harbert's fifth, solid top five, a come from behind top five. He was in the back all race long, so it felt like. That is a solid effort, though, for Jacob Harbert's by the end of it. Casey Kelly sixth, then Steele Langford, Joe Schaefer Jr., Cameron Hamilton, and Spencer Dickinson still nabs the top 10.
A little bit further down the running order, though, you'll find Dante Curtis. He rallies up to the 11th spot after getting involved in a couple of the incidents throughout the rest of the night. Keith Jeffrey and Kyle Turzak, they salvage a couple of good days. Justin Laxton and Jim Cottle right behind the two of them in the 11th through 15th runners. Kyle Meyer in 16th position. Daniel Folds ends up 17th when it's all said and done. Matt Rolfe ends up 18th. Blake Massengale 6 laps down. He's the first car a lap down. Ends up 5 more after that. And then Blake Throenberg in the 20th spot ends up 18 laps down. Only 9 other cars left in the running order.
Finishing 21st this evening, Brian Tedeschi with Ty Majeski. I can't even say it for some reason. There's a certain cadence to say Tedeschi and a certain cadence to say Majeski, and they're a little bit different. Brian Tedeschi with Ty Majeski on the spotter stand. There we go.
Couple Lyman last names.
Yeah, for real. Kyle Souza there in 22nd, Joel Smith in 23rd. A lot of these guys with early exits this evening, all of them with early exits. Eric Tracy, Riley Stenjum, Josh Oswald, Justin Crow, Grant Brown, and Devin Rogers through your 29-car field. That'll do it for us this evening from South Boston Speedway, but we've got some drivers to talk to. First up, race winner and champion on the season, Cole Cabry, able to lock it in here at South Boston Speedway with a race win. I called it at the start of the race. It just felt like one of those times where you've got a driver in a clinch scenario. All you had to do was start, Cole, yet here you are. You had to slap these guys one more time and get the race win. How did you do it?
Oh, for sure, man. You know, I got tired the last 2 or 3 weeks, just kind of bad finishes, trying to take it easy, and then a lot of smack talk behind the camera. So I had to come out and settle the boys one more time, and I don't know if I'll be able to show up next week. I think I'm racing in real life, but I'm just glad to get the championship over with and end it off on a win. Maybe if not, we might unload her at Lanier.
Well, it's certainly cool to see you get it done here this evening. Where can we find you racing potentially next week?
I'll be up in Illinois. We're racing in a little small bull ring called in Des Moines. So it'll be pretty sick. Hopefully we can do the same thing there. But it sure costs a lot more if things go wrong. So, but super soaked on tonight. Thank you, Charlie Bates, for the car all year long. Had this thing looking great. Matt running the league. The guys at the shop, we we fought hard all season. You know, the beginning of the season was really good to us. We got 4 wins right off the bat, and then just towards the middle of the season, we kind of fell off a little bit, just, you know, with the team. But we finally got our stride back, and it really showed tonight. So I'm excited with the 1-2-4 finish for the boys. So huge props to the shop. This one goes to Trevor, Josh, all the hard work they put into this car and iRacing team.
Domination is the word of the season. 5 wins in 10 races. Pat yourself on the back and go get some rest, Cole. Congratulations. Good to talk to you once again.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Andrew and Zach, for all season. You guys did a great job, and just happy to work with you.
Absolutely happy to have you. That's Cole Cabry finishing this thing out with one more win before it's all said and done. I like the way he put that, Zach. Some smack talk behind the camera. Had to go out there and quiet them one more time, and able to walk it off to victory lane this evening. Solid job done by driver 54. Want to mention, by the way, the driver of the day results vote has closed, and it will be Spencer Dickinson, the driver of the day today. So solid nomination by you, Zach. That, I think, was a really good one, and clearly the fan club showed up.
That they did. They came out in full force to get their driver up there in the vote. They made it work. But Josh Cottle is the next one that we're looking at talking to here. Josh, I gotta ask you, were you punching air most of the time on the restarts? Because every single time we had the camera on you, you were trying as hard as you could to get by Aaron Johnson or Cole Cabry, whoever it was, and you just ended up being the bridesmaid.
Oh, yeah. That was basically the sum of my race. I felt like I was stupid good on the long runs, and then the cautions kept coming, and I got really tight. Me and Aaron had a good battle. I got in the back of him like a couple times, and that kind of just sent my race to a blaze because Cole was able to get around us on the top, and Cole's really fast, so it just, it set me up for failure. I apologize to Aaron for that, but it was a good race nonetheless.
Well, you still pulled it out. Managed to bring it home second position. Do you think if you would have had a longer green flag run, because I brought this up that Aaron Johnson had a bit of a better car on the long run than you did, but I think if maybe you could have had a long run, do you think you could have been able to chase them down and get that car into victory lane tonight?
That first run where we kind of had a 30-lap run, Aaron started to pull me away a little bit, and then I was gradually catching back up because my car was I was super free at the start. So when it got a little snug on the run, it felt really good, and I was running good lap times. And I might have got to him. I don't think I would have been able to pass him. The restarts helped me, but the top was only good on the long run. If it kind of went yellow, it'd suck for 3 laps, but I feel like I had a great car. The shop boys put a stellar piece together. Me, Trevor, and Cole all worked on. We had the best Q set and then a solid race set, so I can't be disappointed in second place.
That you can't. Second place is always a great day. And one last question for you, because this was something that I was thinking about over the course of the race, and I wanted to ask at least one of these drivers tonight. Did your car feel more comfortable up on the top than on the bottom, or did it feel more comfortable on the bottom than the top?
Far at the bottom. I was bottoming out like crazy on the top. My right front was completely in the ground, melted off because it was hitting so bad. So no, definitely the bottom. When I ran the top there, you can notice that I could hang on to him for 3 laps, and then I'd start bottoming out and lose all center roll speed and get tight. So yeah, that was some of my race.
Well, the top line rolled for a lot of drivers, and you made some passes up there, and when it's all said and done, you still bring it home in the second position. So congratulations once again, Josh. Congrats on your season as a whole, and hopefully you're going to go out there and win maybe one more time at Lanier next week.
Yeah, man, I just want to thank the shop, Cottle Chassis, Moe's Mobile, Edwards Inflatables. Man, we had a great piece tonight. Going to bring it back next week. Congrats to Cole on the win. Yeah, and thank y'all for the broadcast.
Absolutely. Congratulations again, Josh. And, Andrew, he's content with a second place finish, and I love it for him. And, I think this helps out a little bit more, too, when it comes to the team points going into next week.
That it will. It'll help them a ton. Let's take a look, though, and talk with driver number 3 on the running order. When it's all said and done, Aaron Johnson, who dominated the opening portion of tonight's race. 83 laps led. You come up short, though. What happened at the end?
I made a couple of bad calls on my lines picking and everything, but other than that, Ryan Kuhn gave me a real fast rocket ship tonight. I can't thank him enough.
And you open this race, of course, on pole by the metric, as we call it, and were able to hold on for a long time. But why were these guys able to get the best of you? Was it the top line, bottom line? You say choosing lines went wrong. What was going on there?
I made a couple of bad calls on the choosing lines. I mean, there's some. Me and Jinx got to racing at one point, and it just caught everybody up to me, and it just made them closer to me. And then once you got to the choose involved, I felt I made one bad call choosing the bottom behind Cole, where I should have just went to top and just kept the front row with them. I had a rocket ship all night. I just felt like I needed to be on the bottom to stay right there with them, but that was just my bad judgment call.
And we have now 5 wins for Cole Cabry out front, then a bunch of single wins dotting the field. What's it going to take to get you a second win of the season and set you apart from everybody else and get that breakthrough second win at Lanier next week?
Well, I just think if we keep on beating on what we got right here, I think we should have no problem getting that second win. Ryan had built me a great piece here, so I think we're going to take that to Lanier. I think we're going to have a good shot at it.
There you go, some confidence from driver 78. Good to talk to you, Aaron, after a while. It's been a little while since Rockingham. Congratulations on another solid run, and hopefully we're talking again soon.
I appreciate it. Hope to talk to y'all soon.
Aaron Johnson with a solid run here. I hate that he wasn't able to hang on to the win. He just had it all made for him early, but got passed up by a couple of really solid drivers there. Had some really good racing between himself and Josh Cottle. Just overall a great night at South Boston Speedway for a whole bunch of drivers. A rough night for others, but I think for the league as a whole, Zach, we talked about it. A really good race, a really good night, and a good statement here for the final mystery race.
I got 2 words for you, Andrew. Slugfest. That's what tonight was. These guys were out in full force trying to make something happen. It was a heck of a race. We saw racing throughout the field. I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm sure you did too. And I feel like Lanier is going to build on that too. It's like South Boston, but smaller, more banking, and more aggression, because you can use the bottom below the yellow line at Lanier a lot more in force than you can here at South Boston. If I can explain this properly, it's like, oh man, the way the guys do it when they're qualifying on the short tracks. I know you've seen me do it at Summer Shootout at Charlotte Motor Speedway. They come way up, they cut down, they get a straight exit off of turn number 4, bring it right to the start finish line to carry as much speed as they possibly can. You can do that so much more at Lanier because of how it's banked and how straight you can take that exit coming off of turn number 4. And you can pull a late apex too to carry more momentum off of corner exit. So I'm excited to see what they'll do at Lanier next week.
We'll have to wait and see exactly what goes on at Lanier next time around and take a look at what's upcoming for us here at Pit Stop TV. You see Lanier slotted into that Thursday slot, the 3rd slot there on the right. But first up, we're going to Michigan International Speedway with the BRB Racing League Butt Kicker Cup Series. Going to be a lot of fun. Make sure to tune in.
Season finale.
Oh yeah, regular season finale. Going to set the chase field next week. 12 drivers will have an opportunity to fight for a championship, and it all gets decided as far as the regular season and the chase field and all of that gets decided at Michigan on February the 25th. A big speedway drafting track to get it all done. Make sure you tune in February 25th, this coming Tuesday. And then Wednesday, a proper drafting track, a super speedway, the Talladega Super Speedway, for the Sim Rap Market Series in their latest playoff round. We've had 2, I'm not going to say surprise winners because Adam Meadofield wasn't a surprise winner, but 2 winners that we didn't expect at the start of the race. I'll put it that way, these last 2 races to get the playoffs started, and 2 winners that weren't Zach Millett, meaning anybody has a chance right now in the Simrap Markup Series playoffs, and being a wild card track of Talladega, that opens the box even more. Make sure to tune in Wednesday, February 26th for that one, and then Thursday, February 27th, it's the Caffeine and Octane Linear Raceway for the SARA Pierce Fleet Service Super Series. Make sure to tune in and catch the series finale for these guys. I know that's a sunset picture. It'll be during the day, so we're going to have the Georgia heat, Georgia sun beating down on that racetrack one more time. It's going to be a lot of fun, Zach.
And it is, and you can follow us all the action at pitstoptv.com, facebook.com/pitstoptv, instagram.com/pit_stop_tv, twitch.tv/pit_stop_tv, youtube.com/pitstoptv1, and x.com/pitstoptv_. And I don't know about you, Andrew, but of all 3 of these races that we have coming up here on Pit Stop TV, I'm most looking forward to that Michigan race for the BRB Butt Kicker Cup Series, because their cut line for their chase, I don't know if you saw the points, Andrew, but after IRP last Tuesday, just a couple of nights ago, it's really flipped on its head.
Make sure to tune in Tuesday to catch that, but for now, that'll be it for us from South Boston Speedway. A big thank you to All Pro Late Model Tour, Cody Williams Design, Corey Bodie Motorsports, Crow Sim Shots, Davis Chassis Works, DriverTees.com, Dylan Bates Racing, Fast AF Designs, Hyde's Pride Leather and Sheepskin, International Short Track Association, Matthews Designs, 1-8 Racing Media, Patriot Media and Marketing Services, Pedley's Garage Incorporated, Pierce Fleet Service, RaceOneWraps.com, RJW21 Management, RS Center Trucking, SARA Next Gen Templates, SimRapMarket.com, Toxic Media Solutions, and Wisconsin Wings and Walleyes. Also want to give a big shout out to those who help us here at the channel: Whiplash Simcams, ATVO, CC's Business, Cody Williams Design, Lucky Performance, and the North American Racing League. Make sure to tune in Tuesday for the BRB Racing League as they head out to Michigan International Speedway for their regular series finale. Otherwise, we'll see you all next time from Lanier. Have a good night.